Hi, friends. My name is Nicholas Paul Tressler, also known as Nicky T, and I'm here with my co-host,
Kurt Ozan.
Yay! His real name's Kenan, but you know.
Yeah, Kurt's my middle name, actually.
Kenan?
Yeah.
Wait, who's our guest, though?
Oh, Mr. Reid Haughton. Give it up for Reid. Yay! Reid, thank you for being with us here in the luxurious building behind Tractor Supply.
It's so good to be here. Always good to hang out with you and Kurt.
Yes.
True.
So before the pod, we were talking a little bit about you being on something before this. So if people see that, you'll be having the same shirt on.
Yeah, if you see me with the same shirt on, I've actually just made like 3 posts with the same shirt. I was thinking that earlier. Like, this is not good.
We've done a few podcasts where, like 2 in a row, where we had the same clothing on. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
I do have more shirts than this one. I just like this one. You know?
It's a good shirt. That's why.
Great shirt.
It's not corduroy, but it's like denim-y material, maybe?
Something like that. Fake denim.
It looks great, and even though it's summer, you're still got the long sleeves on, just rolled up, baby.
Yeah, it's not too hot outside today. It's been so rainy.
Stage vibes.
Stage vibes. That's right.
Stage vibes.
Gotta keep the stage vibes up.
We made a tie-dye t-shirt, and Matt was like, we should get one of these to Kurt. I'm like, I don't know if Kurt's a tie-dye guy. Are you?
You could really rock tie-dye.
I'm like a denim guy.
That's what I said.
I'm like a don't mess with Texas t-shirt kind of guy.
Yeah.
Black t-shirt, Metallica t-shirt.
That's how I was like, Kurt has the band guy vibes heavy.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Like,
Every time I see you, I
workwear,
feel like
band
it's
vibes.
denim.
Yeah.
At least on stage. It's
I would wear the shit out of that shirt.
Yeah.
What size is that?
You want to trade?
Yeah, let's trade.
Jersey swap after this?
Yeah. I love it.
Dude, that's funny. Like, just trade clothes with shirts.
We did that. We did like a hat swap with a company. We were at a festival, and we met these guys from American Threads. They were good dudes.
Oh, wait, I just saw... Is this the video that I just saw of Burrell going around and like, trading for everything?
Yeah, well, that's different, but...
same vibe, though,
Same
I guess.
vibe. Yeah. We did like our buddies. They're out of Texas. They're actually called Western Threads, and they have a hat company. So we did like a hat swap and took a picture, like shaking. Yeah. You know, like almost
I
like
feel like people want to do that at shows a lot now. Like,
Yeah.
like dudes, especially if you're playing like a college show or something.
Yeah.
I feel like some dudes always like, you want to trade hats?
And you're like, all right.
Sure, as long as I'm not like tied to it, you know.
Man, we have people that are like, hey, that Raised Rowdy hat I had, someone paid me $100 for it.
Yeah.
They were like, I want that hat. They'll give you $100. I'm like, listen, if someone ever offers you $100 for a hat, take it and we'll give you another one.
That's
you know? Like,
yeah.
Oh, that's, Graham gave his hat away at Whiskey Jam.
Yeah.
He didn't pay, I mean, he didn't make any money on it, but he was nice enough to give
I've heard of people selling Whiskey Jam hats like out, you know,
in the world.
when they're on the road, like somewhere very far away, and they're like, you know, they want a piece of Nashville, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
Dude,
buy
I mean,
someone's hat off.
God bless. We actually were just talking about that when we were at Rock the Country. We were like, we need stuff that says Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Because everyone that came up
People
was
love
like,
that,
where are you
yeah.
guys from? Like, and we're like, oh, we're from Nashville. We host 10 to 12 events a month of original music in town and these podcasts that some people watch and listen to.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, some people.
My mom will watch this.
Yeah. But it's like, we're figuring out our activations on site because it's like, okay, we know about ourselves, but how can we show someone that is maybe 100 feet away enough where they want to walk over and interact with us?
Right.
You know? So,
Yeah.
it's fun though. Well, man, what's been going on in your world?
Dude, we just been on the road. That's
the
what I
best
said. I like this Whiskey Myers poster. We've been on the road with those guys.
Dude, they're so good.
Which is like really wild for me because that's like, you know, I've been a huge fan of them for a long time. It was like very much the soundtrack to my college.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just got home a couple days ago. We were out for 9 days, like all the way up from like, you know, South Dakota, Kansas, Iowa. I don't even know. It got to the point where I was like, I'm not even sure where we're at or what's going on. The last one was at the Walmart Amphitheater in Rogers, Arkansas, which was like
cool.
wild. That place is. Have y'all done that place?
I don't think so.
It's
Maybe
really
we might have probably in 2018 or something.
Yeah, it's
Something like that.
yeah, it's huge. It's like
Outdoor amphitheater.
10,000 capper, I think.
That's awesome.
Door, because you know Walmart's based there or whatever.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah,
And
it's,
Whiskey Myers is good in Arkansas, I assume.
yeah. Oh, yeah. That one was raging. That one and the one in Minneapolis were the craziest ones. Oh, there's a place called the Armory in Minneapolis, which is basically an enormous club because it's all standing on the floor. Then it's just like balcony on the sides, but it's like 8,000 cap
Wow.
room, but it's mostly standing, so it's just like a wave of people out there. And that one was raging out.
So we're talking about a little bit, Nick was using the term activation or whatever. Is there something that you're doing to grab these Whiskey Meyer fans and turn them into Reid fans? Are you hanging out at the merch booth or?
Oh yeah, we're definitely hanging out at the merch booth. I was just telling somebody the other day, I was like, I'm gonna do that until it's like not a good idea to do, because like that's my favorite part of the night, honestly. Like, I mean, I love playing music, but like seeing, you know, the one person who comes up and is like, I love this song or whatever, like that's what you're there for, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been doing that, and then like we've been watching the shows, or at least as much as we can before we have to drive 7 more hours. Like,
they're on a bus and you're in a van.
right, so we're chasing it around, and hopefully we make it through the night. But yeah, we've been hanging out with the fans, like out in the crowd watching Whiskey and Lucas Nelson. So it's been a lot of fun.
So are you guys first of 3?
Yeah, the first batch was us, Red Clay Strays, and Whiskey, and then this most recent batch was us, Lucas Nelson, and Whiskey.
Damn, that's a badass tour.
Yeah,
Sick.
It's been like a complete dream out there. Like, I don't think it's really gonna set in until it's over. That like, whoa, we just did that, you know? Just because I love all these bands so much, it's like people I like listen to. They're like, you know, it's like when I'm playing in my truck. You know?
Yeah. How many shows do you have in the books with them?
I think it was a total of 15.
So great.
Yeah, so we have 6 more, maybe 7 more.
Super cool.
I love Lucas Nelson, man. He's so great.
And such a nice guy, dude.
Rips on guitar.
Yeah. That Junior?
Oh, yeah. He was Les Paul Jr.
Yeah.
Well, and you can kind of hear his dad's voice.
Oh, yeah,
for
absolutely.
sure. Which
There's
is cool, for
there's
sure.
that video where they did they cover that Pearl Jam song together. What's the name of that song?
Alive?
Yeah.
No, it's like one of the more acoustic ones, but it's incredible. I was like, I saw that for the first time. I was just like, it's so good.
So cool.
Yeah, their whole camp's like super nice too, and Lucas too. It was like pretty surreal to hang out with all of them for sure. But it's been wild, and you know, just the shows it's all been arenas and amphitheaters. So we had only done that once before. Like we did one with John Party. I think it was like a year or 2 ago. But it was like we did that, and then it was like back to like Tin Roofs or whatever.
Yeah.
And so now I think like we're respecting it a lot more, because we're like, you don't know how long you're gonna do these, like, because we know what the alternative is, but which is both is fine, you know. But as long as we're playing music somewhere,
That's it.
Yeah.
Getting.
But it's been awesome for real to have, you know, like stage-hands and stuff, just everything that we're not used to having. Catering.
Yeah.
Catering has been awesome. So, you know, we're making more trips than anybody to catering all day long.
Yeah, no doubt.
You're like, they got extra pasta salad in there. Let's get
Everybody
this
else is
more.
probably like, man, that first 3 acts just ate everything in catering. You know?
Be like that. Yeah, I was just listening to this interview with Ray Charles, and he's talking about his attitude being consistent, whether he's performing for 500 people or for 5,000 people. Do you find that like playing, like opening up for the act and a 10,000 cap ring has changed like how you attack the stage, or are you kind of just always giving it?
I mean, yeah, I think to some extent, of course, it has. I mean, probably more things that I don't really that I'm not aware of so much. But like, the biggest thing is the energy is so different. I mean, it sounds like, you know, hippy dippy to say or whatever, but there's no denying it. Like when you're in that big of a room, I mean, you felt it when, you know, the energy coming off of a crowd like that is so apparent, as opposed to like a smaller room where you're like, I'm not really sure what they're thinking. Like, you know what they're thinking. To me, anyways, like in these rooms. So that's, you know, you gotta work harder to win them over, I think, because it's not like high energy when you're the first of 3, like right off the bat. You know, like you gotta really work to get it going, and also that's why you're there. You know, like you're in a way working for the headliner, to me, where you're like, you got to get these people ready for the main thing. You know. But yeah, I just think the energy of the crowd is so different coming from a smaller room to that kind of.
How many songs are y'all playing?
Oh, we're playing like 7 songs. We got 30 minutes set.
Oh, cool. So that's a nice size set.
Yeah.
I've been in that set, in that first of 3 I did it when I was many tours. And it's always fun because it's like you go and you play your 7 best songs, all up tempo bangers, and then you're done and the trailer's packed by like 9 o'clock.
Right.
And then you're just like, hanging out, drinking beer, watching the headliners. It's a fun time.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. The only downside of it was like the first weekend we like were waiting on our merch every night, so we were like playing the show and then hanging out for 4.5, 5 more hours to get our merch, and then we learned our lesson on that and sent it with Whiskey's team, which they're like super cool to take it. But,
That's awesome that they do that.
So I mean, it saves our lives, so we can like if we're going 7.5 hours, like we got to just leave after our set or after Lucas's. And then, to get to the next place so we can sleep for 4 hours and then do it again,
And for the people that don't kind of understand the logistics of what you're doing, is that, Lucas Nelson and Whiskey Myers, these guys with the bigger fan bases that are making more money right now, they have a bus driver. And so they go to bed at 1 a.m. and then they wake up at 9 a.m. and they're in the next thing already. But you're in a van, so you're driving, or your band's driving, or your tour manager's driving. So everyone has to be awake that time. There's no sleeping through the night kind of thing.
Right, and even like if we're leaving at 5 a.m. to get to the next spot, and like even if you're not driving, you're sleeping in a van, so you're
and you have to
down in Mississippi or whatever, and the roads are going crazy. Good luck. Yeah. Or just being like, you good over there, man? Like, are you falling asleep or is the road just crazy? So learning how to, navigate all that. But it's all worth it when you're out there.
For sure. But it does, at least in my opinion, it's like, it does wear on you faster than being on a bus is like a lifesaver. Like, it just extends your energy. You get more sleep, and after the show, you don't have to bring your stuff to the van, get in the van, drive to the hotel, take your stuff out, go upstairs, and then come back. Wake up, pack your stuff again. It's like you just leave it on the bus.
Yeah, the pack and repack, that's the only thing to really getting old. I'm like, I don't like that at all. But, no, I can deal with the hotels and whatever else. But, yeah, it is a lot of just like, pack and repack.
I mean, it's a lot easier when you're getting a tour with Whiskey Myers on. Okay.
Right, yeah, that's when you're like, oh, maybe I don't have a problem staying at the Quality Inn 7 nights in a row.
Yeah. It's cool to get to do, like you said, like those are folks that you listen to on the regular too.
Yeah.
Has to be great to.
Yeah, because we've just been out there sitting in the crowd like fans, just being like, like that's, listen to that one a million times on whatever.
I've done that like almost every tour, I've always gone, and multiple nights I've gone and watched the headliner just because it's like, we're on tour with Darius, it's like, I love this music, it's fun. Yeah. And it's fun now as the headliner, like, I look out and I see Colby and his whole band, and they're like, I can see them waving in the background,
Well, and you learn a lot, I think, from watching whoever it is, even if it's nothing like what you're doing, you still learn something as somebody at my level from, like, just the logistics of what's going on. I enjoy, like, watching the texts, and, I'm kind of a nerd for all that stuff, so I'm, like, just checking out how the show is being ran, because it's really wild to see how many people it takes to make that thing happen.
Oh yeah,
it's bonkers, dude.
Like, so many people are like vital to the job. Like, the show could not happen without them, and people have no idea.
Yeah,
because you show up to the show and you're like, oh, good, it's happening. Everything was here.
Yeah.
There's like, we're doing the stadium tours now, and like in San Antonio where we played last weekend, I'll do my exercise, I'll go for a jog, excuse me, and I see, days before the doors are open, Thursday, Friday, before the Friday show, people coming in, and there's chairs. There's literally probably 20,000 chairs. So people have to set up 20,000 chairs. You know how many chairs that is?
Yeah.
20,000, dude. It's so many chairs.
It's so many chairs.
And there's like people selling hot dogs and beer vendors and security and ticket checkers, and there's a trillion, and we travel with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the local hands and like.
I like talking to the local hands because they've seen so much of it,
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have so many stories, especially if they're an older cat, about like who they worked with coming through there, and they love to tell you who the nicest person was they've met.
And they love to hate on people. Oh yeah, Billy Joel was a dick, or whatever.
I was telling somebody the other day, everywhere we've been, it seems like one person tells me, man, Jelly Roll came here and he's the nicest guy ever. There's always one of them every time, and I'm like, that's what I've heard. But
my favorite Jelly story is just a quick side. I was taking a piss in the bathroom at the Grammys, and I look over, and him and a couple of his buddies are smoking a blunt in the bathroom. I'm like, hell yeah, Jelly.
Shout out Jelly Roll.
Yeah.
That's cool. Anything that you've kind of like picked up from this tour that you're like, man, I want to make sure I do that if I get to this level?
That's a great question.
Other than being good to people like Jelly Roll.
Yeah, I mean, I just think like interacting with the fans, like it's the whiskey guys, like they're really like interactive on stage, especially. And then like after one of the shows, like I was like, what are they doing? Because like they didn't walk right off the stage after. Like it's weird to see an act that big like get down in the pit, you know, and like shake hands and hug necks and whatever. Like I want to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I could say a million things about what's going on out there. That's just cool to watch how, you know, from every camp that we've been out there with. But yeah, I mean, just loving all the fans because I mean, hell, you wouldn't be playing if it wasn't for them.
Absolutely.
You know, they're the ones that are, you know, you really start thinking about, you know, that they're spending their money on those tickets and going there, and it's you know, you're everybody's like day they've been looking forward to for months probably. I think that's one thing I've realized on this tour, especially, is because it is bigger and it's more expensive to go or whatever. That like, you better bring it because these people, you know, you better bring it anytime, anywhere, anyways. But like, especially for these people who are coming out there, and it's the Saturday they've been looking forward to for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, and they've spent, you know, a good bit of money on tickets to go.
And babysitters.
Babysitters and
Parking.
beer and whatever else, you
Yeah.
know, $20 beers. But you know, just bringing it for them, you know.
Totally makes sense. Any songs in the set that kind of have hit home on this tour more than usual, or anything that stood out?
I was telling somebody it's so funny how it's been different show to show.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the overall is that it's been wild to see people singing "Man-Made Money."
Yeah.
Great song.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One of my favorites.
But like, that's kind of like, you know, besides being in college, this is like the first time I've seen that going down. You know, seeing people like get their phones out and start laughing or whatever, smiling, like, because they know that one.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, but it's been different every time. Like in Minneapolis, we like Flickr, we got done with it, and they were going crazy, and I was like, well, that didn't go down the last 3 nights. You know what I mean? Like they enjoyed it, I'm sure, but like they were, you know, hollering out there. So it's just different every night.
Super cool.
I really enjoyed playing this new one called "It Don't Hurt." That's gonna be on the new record. It just like jams like real hard. And we're playing like second in the set, so people are like, you know, looking at you like, okay, what are these people gonna do? And it feels like halfway through that one, they're like, okay, you know, this isn't gonna be rough to sit through. You know, they're like, this is fun.
Well, talking about the new music, so you have that record coming out. I mean, by the time this comes out, the record will be out.
Oh, sweet.
So you're dropping Friday. Yeah. So why don't you tell us about the record? Who produced it? Any songs that you don't have out there already that you're specifically like stoked on?
Yeah, I mean, "It Don't Hurt" for sure. Going back to that, I don't like. I'm kind of obsessed with like. It has a lot of clav piano. You know, so it's like real funky. It reminds me a lot of like the Tyler Childers like gospel record vibe.
Yeah.
So I'm like really excited for that. But I made this record with Sadler Vaden, who I made my last EP with.
Yeah.
Who, you know, plays guitar for Isbell.
Yeah.
Just a good old rock and roller, you know.
So he's had a lot of success as a producer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just you know heard the Morgan Wade record, and I was like, who did that? Which I knew who Sadler was before, but and I was like, oh my gosh, that was him. And then whatever, it lined up to where he you know was down to make the EP. But so I made it with him and had some killer players on it. Like Billy Justino played keys. I'm sure you know him.
Of course.
Eli Beard played bass, and Julian Doria played drums. Who plays for Steven.
Yeah.
I think that's his name, Julian Doria. Anyways, had some awesome players. And it just turned out, you know, better than I could have ever expected. But that's kind of how the EP was. Like, I love how Sadler's brain works because it's never the thing I think is going to happen. And it's always something I'm pumped about, you know?
Yeah, I love that. Is he an Alabama guy?
No, he's from South Carolina. Gotcha. But obviously he's probably spent a good bit of time in Alabama because of Isbell. But no, that's kind of like how I connected to him in a way, is because he's from South Carolina, and Lynn at River House is also from South Carolina. But she like knew him from when she was working at 30 Tigers.
Oh, cool.
So that's kind of how we connected the dots there, and made the EP, and then made this.
Where'd y'all cut it?
We cut this record at Curb.
Cool.
And then we cut the EP at Sound Emporium.
Nice.
yeah, Curb was really cool. I'd never been in that spot before. They had just like gutted it out when we were in there. So it was like real new, but it was great, man. Like killer experience. It's just wild to watch those players, you know, who are, you know, they're so much faster than me is the main thing, you know. Not only are they better, but they're faster, which is just so wild to see.
Coming up, they're faster playing, or are they faster coming up with ideas?
Oh, I just knowing what the thing to do is, you know. It's like I would still be tuning my guitar while they're like, okay, I'm good. I'm going to get some coffee. You know what I mean? Just the way they think is so fast, man. And I love how, you know, none of these songs really have been anything like a demo or work tape. It's been like so far like what they came up with, which is awesome. You know, we're not sticking to anything. You know, we're down to try whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like we really went for it on this one. You know, as far as sonically, it's we didn't try to keep in any boxes. You know,
That's
and
cool.
I feel like we cut a few songs that I was like, I don't know, like this one kind of makes me nervous because it's really out there, and then after, like, you know, midway through cutting it, I would be like, okay, yeah, this was a great decision.
Yeah.
Or at least I think so right now. Yeah, the record's not out, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, it feels good, man. I'm just excited to see what people think. It's really different song to song. Like it all lives in the same house, but in different rooms, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What would you describe the house as?
Like very eclectic. Like there's a lot of things going on, you know? It's many different flavors of things. I think it really like hits on like how I listen to music when I, you know, think about what I grew up on or even what I listen to now. It's like never been one thing. It might be one thing for 1 week, but it might be something drastically different. And not that the songs are like, oh my gosh, this is completely out of the world of the last one I listened to, but there's, you know, like It Don't Hurt is like much different vibe than like Flicker.
Yeah.
You know, but they're both like sounds that are in my head constantly.
Southern rocky.
Yeah, southern rock. Like there's a lot of like southern rock vibe. A lot of it's like just grooving hard, and then some of it, you know, like there's a love song in there called "Got to Give," and there's this the only outside cut called "The Crow," are like very just like open. I never want to compare myself to Chris Stapleton because he's goated and I'm not him, but that's what we're shooting for, you know, like very acoustic, open vibe.
Like pared down production. Let the vocal do the
pretty bare.
thing.
Yeah.
I think like from the last EP, the guitar on it, of course, he's amazing, but sonically is southern rock, but is so much more than that. And honestly, your guys' live show captures that too.
I think that's kind of the thing is like all of it was built around, you know, like what I wanted to do live.
Yeah.
So that's probably, you know, like largely why it reflects that, I guess. But yeah, it was like all built for the live show, I think. I was even like thinking about that largely when we were picking songs on like how the flow of the set would work with if we were just playing these songs, you know?
Yeah.
Or whatever, but
who are some of like the people historically, like I know we started kind of covering you when you were still in school, and you know, you've developed a lot since then.
yeah, I was actually thinking before on my way over here. Do you remember when we were at Red Rocks watching
Yeah.
Luke and Jameson and
You were at that show?
yeah?
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because I remember, like, we had kind of known each other,
Yeah.
but I don't think we had ever met each other in person.
Yep.
And I just, like, saw you at Red Rocks, like, in the crowd and was like, yo, there's Nicky T.
Yeah.
And I, like, walked down there and we talked for a minute. But
Yeah.
I was thinking about that on the way over here. Man, it feels like forever ago, but also, like, yesterday.
And we were watching Kurt play.
Yeah, we were watching Kurt play. That's so funny.
Hell yeah. What's your voice?
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man, actually, to think about.
Yeah.
That was such a great show. And
Mother's
honestly-
Day? Ish?
Yeah, it was Mother's Day
Oh,
weekend.
hey, thanks for texting my mom. Happy Mother's Day.
Oh,
It
of
made her
course.
day. Even though
Yeah.
I called her and talked to her for like an hour, but she's like, Nicholas, a.k.a. Nicky T, call fart.
Nicholas.
Yeah.
She's such a sweetheart.
You're a sweetheart, dude. Thanks for texting my mom.
Of course. Yeah.
I need to get your mom's number at some point.
Yeah, she doesn't text it. You have to call her.
Yeah.
But yeah,
My
that's
mom's
so
always
wild,
saying-
man. That's pretty full circle. To think
It is,
about there.
man.
Yeah.
And now you're here on the podcast with me and Kurt.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Maybe we can go to one of your shows, the Red Rocks.
Red Rocks.
That'd be
I
amazing.
was
Shit.
But
We'll get that poster on the wall.
It's probably number one on the bucket list, I would say.
Yeah. What else is on the bucket list?
I mean, obviously the Ryman or the Bridgestone
Yeah.
would be cool. I want to play the Gorge.
Dude, I
Have you done the Gorge?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been to that. That's
There's a
on
big
my
festival
list.
out there, right? Watershed.
Yeah.
Watershed.
Yeah, I played Watershed with Jana Kramer.
Yeah.
I want to play that place.
Yeah.
It's-
Any outdoor, beautiful
Beautiful.
place, like
Yeah.
that's where I want to play it.
What about this place? That place in Franklin? Isn't it
Oh,
supposed
yeah.
to be gorgeous too? That little shed that's down there.
What
I haven't
there's
been
some-
down there yet.
I don't know what it's called, but
shed
yeah,
that's close.
I've been hearing about
Like
it.
a smaller shed that's close to here that's supposed to be gorgeous. And then have you been to the caverns?
No, but I saw.
Sick.
Whiskey played there,
Yeah.
and Adam Hood opened.
Yeah.
That it looks sick.
I got to see
It-
Jelly there.
Was that indoor or outdoors?
The caverns.
Yeah.
I guess it's indoor because you're in a cave.
Well,
Okay.
they have indoor and outdoor shows.
I've
there.
never been.
I
But,
played the outdoor show with a jam band.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
sick. Yeah, I got to see Cadillac 3 play there,
ooh.
and then that was awesome.
I want to see. I've never got to see the Cadillac 3, but I want to. I'm such a fan of those guys.
Bro, there's
I've watched a million videos of them, but
Yeah.
I've never, seen them in person. But
that show is like amazing, and honestly, like the audio in there not the best, just because you're literally in a cavern.
Right.
And it's like
I feel like I'd rather see like Molly Tuttle there than I would like
Yes.
TC3.
yeah, something more
having said that,
acoustic.
TC3 was definitely a vibe.
I feel like they'd be good anywhere. Like
Yeah,
they'd be good if they were set up right here.
Yeah, but I think that still to this day, definitely before I moved to Nashville, the act I'm seeing the most all time is them. Cadillac.
You know what?
Yeah. Yeah, we used to go like for a weekend and do 2 or 3 shows.
Yeah.
So we just
Golly, that'd wear you out, son. Playing
Well,
that.
I mean, it's not different than you guys touring.
Yeah, true.
It's just we probably drank maybe more alcohol.
Yeah, probably drinking more beers.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
It's a good time, man.
Yeah, it was great. And then Brian Nelson was opening for Jelly Roll there. So it was
That's
nuts.
crazy.
Dude, it was nuts.
Yeah.
It was when Ryan had that like deal where he was like doing artist dev with Jelly before
Oh, yeah?
Jelly became like fully Jelly.
Jelly? Yeah.
He already was, but it was like
Right.
before it like happened like it's happening now.
That's awesome.
And so we got to like kind of be there's not like a stage, it's just like rocks, but like we got to be like
just
side
rocks.
rock for the show.
That's
It was
funny.
super cool.
In the cavern.
Yeah, it was super neat.
That's
And Jelly's fan base is wild, man.
Dude, I just bet it's like so many different kinds of people, which
It is.
would be awesome.
It's
you
super
know,
eclectic.
yeah,
And-
because he's like a everyman kind of guy.
He is,
you know,
very much.
which is I think why people love him so often.
Great redemption stories while still being a little naughty. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like-
Everybody loves it.
It's like a cool
Fair
mix. Yeah, dude. And we saw him last year at a Tailgate and Tall Boys. It was him and then Nickelback, and it was literally like a sermon.
Yeah, I
It
bet
was
that
literally
was
like church. It was
Yeah.
wild.
yeah. And I bet
Yeah,
they probably
25,000
share a lot of fans. Probably
I bet you.
Probably
I bet you
kinda-
there's a good crossover.
some of
there.
the same demographic.
Yeah. I remember when before I worked over at Big Loud, I was chatting with Joey Moy,
Mhm.
and we were talking music, which was a really cool thing to do.
do.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking
Yeah,
back, like
that
that
would-
hour call with Joey Moy.
That's
was
the guy you
amazing.
want to talk music with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was talking, man. He was like, yeah, man, we were just making, music for blue collar folks, people that lived in trailers and stuff
Right.
like that. He's like, that's what rock and roll was.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, and now that's what country is. There's a big section of country music that is filling that same spot that rock and roll filled in the 2000s.
Yeah, I mean, and sonically, a lot of it is like very
Close.
close. Like
Yeah.
very, very close.
Yeah. And this was kind of like right before that was really crossing over, like before Hardy did the like rock Hardy thing, but it was coming, they knew it was coming. And now to see those scenes kind of really cross over like that, like, like Nate Smith putting out Heart Shaped Box.
Oh, that was pretty cool. Yeah, I thought it was a song he had or somebody else had written. This with the same title.
Oh, yeah.
And I clicked on it and I was like, "Whoa, it's very unexpected, but really cool." Yeah.
Yeah. And his version's great.
I mean, he can sing, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I mean-
that scratched my itch because, like, grunge rock is my favorite
Yeah.
form of rock. Like,
What's your
it's
favorite grunge band
Probably
or
Soundgarden.
'90s band?
Yeah, probably
Soundgarden.
Yeah,
Chris Cornell is in my top 3 vocalists of all time.
He's
for
my
me.
one.
Number one. He's my one.
Yeah.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
I remember like being a kid and being like, if I could have anyone's voice, I would have Chris Cornell.
For sure.
He just has so
voice.
much range. He can scream and
It
also
sounds
sing
like
the most
no one
beautiful-
else.
Yeah, beautiful and delicate. But then he could sing Jesus Christ Pose right after it and scream his face off.
Right, yeah.
I saw him play at the House of Blues in Las Vegas right after he left Audioslave.
I like Audio Slave.
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah. Rage. This is a Rage tattoo.
What is it from?
It's
Is that
it's
on
like
the
an
album cover or something?
alternative logo that they've used on like T-shirts and stuff. I actually have a T-shirt that doesn't fit anymore that I still have. Maybe I go to you, Kurt. Yeah, that has this like on the back. So I'm just like always loved this microphone grenade logo.
It looks awesome.
Yeah, and so like when they put that band together, I thought the world was like messing with me because it was like Soundgarden, who I was of course like, absolutely in love with, and some of my favorite songs from that time, my favorite vocalist, and then my favorite freaking band.
I actually didn't know until we were talking about this in the van the other day. I didn't know that the whole band was Rage.
Yeah.
I thought it was just Tom Morello
No.
and Chris Cornell, and then
Oh,
other players. Yeah, that's
yeah.
people should still do super bands.
You need bands that do super bands. There's no bands
That's
anymore.
true.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, they're coming back, man. There's
Velvet
some-
Revolver.
Yeah.
Velvet Revolver. Yeah. Slither. Or is that what it's called? Slither.
Yeah.
Yeah. This song. That song.
Yeah. Well, we're starting to get some bands back in the country scene.
Yeah.
Rock crossover. Like, have you heard Fox and D?
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
I love those guys. I don't know them, but I've been watching their stuff and like we followed each other. But yeah, they're great.
They played one of our early events. We found them through our buddy Will Smith that does video for like Tyler Halverson
Oh, cool,
and
yeah.
Gavin Adcock.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Bro, you got to check this band out." And I
Yeah,
was
they
like,
rip.
These guys rule. They have a little bit of Slave in them. They have a
Are
little
they
bit of
Texas guys?
They're actually from Charlotte.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
They sound like that.
They
though.
sound
They have
like
that
they
vibe.
sound like Texas or Oklahoma
Yes.
or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of that vibe to me.
That scene is so prominent now that people outside of that scene
Are starting
like
to
that.
sound like that.
Yeah, or have some of that in there.
Some of it, yeah.
And
But you're
then-
right. They do have like some more, whatever
Rock?
whatever you call that kind of rock.
Yeah.
To them.
Yeah. Yeah, post grunge rock.
Right.
To me, that's in my brain. When you say Texas, Oklahoma, I think Turnpike. And I know that like
Yeah.
Coetzel has
now.
changed what that is now,
Yeah.
but I'm still not like caught up on that.
Treaty Oak,
Mm-hmm.
Treaty Oak, man. We got to see them this weekend
Where?
at Rock the Country.
Oh, Rock the Country.
They're so good.
Where is that at?
The one that we went to was in Rome, Georgia.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but they have like 7 of them, all in small towns throughout the U.S. And Treaty Oak and Co. played on the same day.
I bet that was wild.
Oh, it's great. And it's funny because, Burrill likes to drop F-bombs when he's on the mic.
All right.
So as soon as Treaty Oak came out, there was like 35 F-bombs in the first 3 songs. And I was like, Burrill, this has to be your favorite band. Just
That's
all the F-bombs
hilarious.
on the mic.
Yeah.
He had the biggest smile on his face. It was awesome.
For real. Oh my god.
But,
Classic.
yeah, he was, but they rocked.
Oh, yeah.
They just got to it. It was crazy.
I bet is that festival pretty wild?
It was wild.
In general, I bet every video I've seen of it's been like nuts.
It was cool, and it's like it's just wild seeing the chaos of it, but like no drama. Like we didn't see any fights or anything.
Huh.
Well,
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
which is like sometimes at a Gavin Adcock show or a Treaty Oak
Yeah.
show, you're gonna see some fights.
Dude,
So like,
I saw a good fight on the first weekend with Whiskey Myers
Yeah.
in an arena, which was wild because they were like fighting on a slope, like, and it was like 10 people
Like in the seats or in the pit?
in the seats,
wow,
and it was like the far back of the venue, so they were like hitting it with the lights every now and then.
Yeah.
And it was like
Were you on
a
stage or no?
scramble. Oh no, it was during Whiskey set.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think we're maybe rowdy enough for fight music, but Whiskey is.
yeah,
Whenever we have the biggest, like all the biggest fights we've ever had during our shows have come during like Beautiful Crazy or like all the quiet songs.
yeah.
I don't know why, but
Maybe it's like somebody trying to steal somebody's girl.
maybe.
No, it's just guys don't know how to deal with emotion. So we're
Yeah.
like, let's punch another dude in the face to fix this.
But we had this. I admit, I struggle to even call it a fight. It was more like a gang war or something. It was like 12 dudes in this huge skirmish, and I'm up there playing steel guitar. Beautiful.
Were you watching them while you were?
Oh yeah, I'm
what's
trying
going
to pay
on?
attention. I'm like, oh my god. I'm at some wild fights, dude.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, the Luke Combs crowd's a drinking crowd.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, man.
I would
Yeah.
bet if you looked at like
Beer sales?
no per person, it's
Yeah.
high. You know, I can't say that because I don't know the data, but I would bet they are. You know, there's a lot
sure,
of good.
yeah.
There's a
Be a
lot of
safe
songs
bet.
now that are not, but like historically, Luke's beer drinking music. You know, which is one of the reasons why I love it so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, country music in general.
Yes, agreed. Very much.
Beer
so.
drinking people.
Yeah. Yeah, some good blue collar folks that like to have some beverages, like
Like to have a good
Surfsides.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I'll cheers.
Shout out to the Surfside
Blessings.
blessings.
I got this new Orca koozie as well, and it holds all different kinds of cans.
Oh, that's very
Dude,
smart.
so that thing holds like the slim cans. It holds
And a regular one?
regular one, and it even held the like big liquid
2x4s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the big boys.
Yeah.
They're nice. We just got those actually.
Nice.
I'll have to get you one of those. They're sick. They put the little logos on them and everything.
Raise the Rowdy merch.
Yeah,
Yo.
dude, we're like
The best
expanding
kind
it.
of merch.
I mean, at least for me, you
Yeah,
I
for
mean-
everyone.
know. Yeah.
True.
What kind of merch are you guys rocking out on the road? Do you have t-shirts and hats? Is that kind of like what you're doing?
Yeah, we have t-shirts and hats. We need to get. I think we've had new hats coming for a while, so
Nice.
maybe those will show up soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just like printed some new shirts for the like the new record. Like we put the cover on a shirt.
Yeah.
And then the new record really sets up well for a lot of merch.
Just sonically? Or
Just titles and
Yeah.
like themes, I guess. Like
Yeah.
the whole Higher Than Nine thing is like great for merch. Like we did like a Top Gun looking vibe.
Oh, yeah.
It just says like Higher Than Nine in like small font, but it's like a whatever you call that, like a pilot logo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it sets up good.
That's cool. And sometimes you do that and it doesn't even happen. It's funny. I would remember like when I was over at Big Loud, I would like hear a song title and I would just like see a T-shirt in my head.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like,
Yeah,
my
somebody
brain
was
works
telling
like
us the other
that.
day we need to make a man-made money
Oh yeah.
shirt, and I agree. I just need to figure out what it should look like, but that would probably be a good seller. I feel like
Yeah.
because there's like a type of dude out there who's like, yo. I'll want
Hello,
one of those.
find that
Yeah. Don't mess with. Yeah, somebody who would wear a don't mess with this shirt. Same vibe.
Yeah.
Is that Luke merch?
No, I just bought this on Amazon when that extended version of the record came out.
Right.
And I heard the lyric and go, I need a Don't Mess with Texas t-shirt. My brother lives in Dallas, so
Yeah.
I figured why not.
We went to one of the Luke shows. It was when you came and hung out with us, and like 3 of us wore Don't Mess with Texas T-shirts,
Yeah.
like different
Yeah.
ones. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, those in general are great shirts, and then when Luke talked about it, made it even more popular.
Yeah, he used to. That song suited by the single.
Oh
But
yeah, Smash. I think you could say that about like every Luke song though. So
I heard that song, like, I guess it was days or weeks after he wrote the song. Like, this is one of my Luke Combs stories here. I watched Luke. It was just Luke and Rob, because the rest of the band or whatever had not been able to make it. Some flights got messed up or something. This was in like Tupelo, Mississippi, and it was Luke, Corey Smith, and Travis Tritt. This is like I was in high school, I think.
oh wow, this is before I was in the band.
Yeah. So, wait, I don't even know where I was going with that. But anyways, that's one of my first Luke Combs stories. Is that I saw him that far back,
And he played.
and he played Houston. We got a problem because the band didn't make. That's where I was going with it. He was like, yes, since the band couldn't make it, I'm going to do something like special. I just wrote this song 2 or 3 days ago or whatever it was, and played that song. And I was
Super
like,
cool.
oh my god, it's been my favorite Luke song ever since.
I think Luke did a really good job with that of like teasing songs and getting people to love them, like Beer.
Yeah.
Like when I first heard like him ripping on Beer acoustic, I was like, oh,
Bro, same.
yeah.
Remember, he played it just acoustic on his bus, and I was like, well, my job's secure for a while.
But dude, he was good at social media like before a lot of people were.
Yes.
Like I remember seeing those early videos of him and like the Muscadine guys
Yep.
play and then being like, "Yep,
Yep.
that's it." You
That's
know?
good, like that.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and I think that's kind of like, you know, the platforms have always been there. It's just which platform, right?
Right.
So now, like,
And
everyone's
it'll
kinda-
always be something.
Yes.
Like everybody wants to talk about TikTok going away, but like okay, it'll be
go
something
to
else.
somewhere. Yeah, it'll go to
Like-
YouTube or Reels or
Yeah.
a new app or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe an AI app. I don't know.
The robot.
Have you guys heard that Randy Travis song?
No,
I
haven't.
listened to it, yeah.
Yeah. So they have a song, and they basically fed the algorithm all of Randy's vocals, and with Randy's permission. and then had a singer sing to get the melody,
Oh.
and then they put Randy's voice over it, and it sounds like Randy.
I wonder who sang.
I don't know if it did to get the melody, but
I was listening to something the other day that was saying that this is how far that AI or whatever has come, that you used to need 30 full seconds of somebody's voice to mimic it,
Yeah.
and now you need 1 second, or it's literally a blip. You just need one word or something.
yeah,
It's crazy.
the speed in which that is moving is wild. I remember I was selling cell phones during the peak of cell phones.
Yeah.
When it was really
Uh-huh.
going from it was just a cell phone and you had 50 minutes to okay, now everyone has a cell phone. Oh, now we're getting them for kids. Oh, now text messaging happened.
Right.
Oh, now we have internet on our phone.
What kind of store were you working at?
Verizon Wireless.
Verizon?
Yeah. Yeah, so I worked at Verizon Wireless. I worked in the call center. So I worked at Best Buy. And then I worked at Verizon Wireless out of college.
Yeah.
And then, so I got to be through that whole thing. No one texted, and then everyone was texting all day. And then everyone was using their phone for the internet for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I got to see that hands-on, right? We were getting taught that stuff as it was coming through. But nothing at the speed of what we're seeing right now.
Oh, yeah, it's what
AI is wild.
crazy times.
It is, the thing that worries me about it is regulations, right? So
Right.
there's a lot of regulations on cell phones, a lot of regulations on stuff that's going through the airwaves, right?
Mm-hmm.
AI is moving so fast that it's going to be hard to keep regulations because it's not a fast process getting laws made. It's
Right.
not a fast
Well, I
process.
feel like it's weird too, because some people are don't want to hold it up at all, and some people are stop it. You
Yeah.
know,
It's crazy.
So get people to agree on which way they want to go might be difficult, but I guess if it'll do what it'll do.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it because AI can't pick up that guitar and play it for you to your face.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the creative. I think is definitely going to be the last thing. But
I saw they asked Joe Walsh what he thought about it. And he said, until AI can trash a hotel room, he's not worried about it.
True.
man, that is really true because part of the thing that makes country music or music in general is you get invested in that artist. You know, there's the song is important, but
Yeah, you care
really
about
get
them because they're a
tied.
human.
Yeah.
You know?
And you
There's
really get tied.
influencers though that are fake and people don't know that have hundreds of thousands of followers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Their whole lives are completely fake.
But you think about somebody like Luke Combs, they love that dude because of who he is.
Yes.
I mean, his music's great. He's a great singer, but a lot of people really love him because, they relate to him. He's like a guy like them and puts him, makes himself seem that way.
Yeah.
It's real. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And these people see through some of that.
Yes. Yeah. In the long run, I think it'll definitely come back to that. It's just going to be interesting to see how far it goes before it goes back. Because just like everything, it's a pendulum. It's swinging one way and then it'll swing back the other. I mean, it's the same thing we're seeing in music. You see...
That's what I was gonna say. It's all this really organic stuff is doing really good right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be a phase too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that's, you're hearing the rock crossover with country, right? You heard rock, when I was young, it was rap and rock crossover.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Rage Against the Machines, it was the Limp Bizkits.
I think it's awesome though as an artist because you're okay, well I'll just do whatever I want to do because it'll either be good now or it'll be good at some point.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about make it especially with this record, making the kind of music I want to make. It's it'll be relevant at some point.
Well, and the genre is so wide now that there's so much room to play.
Right? Yeah, you can do whatever you want to do. It's
Yeah.
the Wild West of making music. You can do what even within the same record. I was saying, some of these songs are pretty different.
Yeah.
But I think you see that on other people's records too.
And one of the things that I see now is there's definitely the level of crazy fame, but you can carve out a niche right now and travel down that niche and have a lot of people that will go on the ride with you.
Yeah, well, what's crazy is some of these people who are having crazy big success, you would have called it really niche before it was,
Yeah. And now it's that's turning the mainstream to center,
In which there's obviously got to be somebody out there who says, no, this is going to be huge. So,
Yeah. Well, and it's cool because it's like talent at the end of it, and good music is what does rise the ship. Yeah,
Rise to the top.
and that's like before we had this podcast. Actually, I was talking with one of the girls that runs the facilities here. She's like, I love that you guys will have like someone that would be considered pop country, and then someone that's straight up rock and roll.
Yeah,
and have them on the same night. I'm like,
because why not?
Music's great music.
Yeah.
You know?
To each their own. Like,
Yeah.
what, it wouldn't be fun if everybody was making the same kind of music.
Yeah.
That'd actually be terrible.
Yeah.
You know, like,
The thing we look for is it good? You know?
yeah.
Like that's the
Does
number one
does this
thing.
make me feel like something?
Yeah.
Do I like this? Okay, I don't
Yeah.
care what it is. you
Yeah.
know? That's how I listen too. You know,
Yeah.
not like trying to like keep myself in some kind of box of,
Yeah.
of entertainment.
Right. As I've been getting older too, I've been like digging back into the music of my past.
As
So,
we
like,
all do.
Yeah. So like, I remember like my buddy Sam, that's like one of our bloggers, does our Rowdy Alternative page, and he's like the world's biggest Limp Bizkit fan.
Yeah.
And just his passion for Limp Bizkit got me back into Limp Bizkit so hard. But like, I literally in '99 went.
They're awesome, dude.
Fun as hell, dude.
I had never really listened to them at all until all this like new.
What rock?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just resurfacing so much. But,
Yeah.
So like you're seeing them play all these festivals and whatever.
They're crushing.
And what's his Fred Durst?
Yep.
He's dressing up as a cowboy or doing all this
Yeah.
like really weird shit, and it's like on all over TikTok. So I like kind of dug in and started listening to it, and I was like, that is like I'm just such like a sucker for guitar music, and I was
Yeah.
like, that's guitar music.
Yeah.
Like he's ripping, dude.
Wes
Wes Borland is like an animal.
He is. He's a monster.
I mean, what he's doing is unlike it's his voice. It's wild.
Well, and that was the cool part about that time was you had so many lead guitar players that kind of had their own voice through their guitar.
Yeah.
You had so many
And
guys.
like the guitar with the DJ thing is
Oh,
like
yeah.
so awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting time, and it was, I mean, of course, I was a kid, so it was great. Yeah.
Did you ever see them?
Yeah. So I got to
I've seen it
see,
twice.
yeah.
No way.
I got to see Biscuit in '99. I still have the tickets.
That was
for
probably
it.
their peak, right? Like,
It was right
yeah.
around their peak.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a little more popular maybe like 2 years after that, but it was like 97 to 99 was
So that was like the best time to see that, like
Yeah.
right before the peak.
I was in like either me and my brother Steve, who is 13 years older than me, and like always kind of was like my music Sherpa,
Yeah.
Like,
Everybody needs one of those.
yeah. So it was like he was halfway between like what would be like a dad's age and like a brother's age.
Funkle.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
basically like an uncle.
A Funkle.
Yeah, so he took me. We were like 3 rows from the back of the shitty arena in Pittsburgh, where the Penguins used to play, and it was Limp Bizkit was the headliner, Kid Rock was primary support, and Stained was first at 3.
Oh man.
And I still have that ticket stub, and it's in good shape. Like, I've
And I
kept it
wonder
all
what
those
that
years.
ticket cost then.
It was $20.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It was $20.
That's crazy.
And I remember him going around like to all these stores trying to find me my size in red fitted Yankees hat. So and I wore that hat.
Was that what
Fred Durst?
Fred Durst was
Yeah.
wearing?
Before he was doing all
That's
this crazy
so
stuff he was doing,
awesome.
He wore backwards red Yankees hat a lot. That
Yeah.
was like his signature look.
Where are they from?
They're from Jacksonville. What he is.
No, I thought he's from Gastonia.
Oh, maybe he is.
I'm not sure where the band's from, but
Yeah.
say because Crabtree's always like Fred Durst, he's a Gastonian native.
Yeah.
Or maybe Rob tells me that, I forget.
Yeah. One of
That's
the boys.
awesome.
But yeah, they're from the South, like that area. And he used, I mean, the way Durst got into like having a band was he wanted to do music videos. And he was like, well, if I have a band, I can do music videos.
I was also digging into. I didn't know that Wes Borland like makes all those costumes. Like he's like a physical artist in the sense that he like makes these crazy elaborate outfits that he's wearing and
Yeah.
mask and whatever.
And he kind of like started that, like, and it developed through rock music.
Yeah.
It's still happening to this day where like people will have elaborate costumes that
Slipknot.
become part of their thing.
yeah.
And Wes, I mean, Kiss and everyone. had
Yeah.
done
Yeah, I guess
Going before,
did
yeah.
Kiss like start that whole
Yeah.
thing? I
Well,
guess.
Shock Rock was Alice Cooper did it.
Yes,
and
yeah.
whoever else.
but
Or,
those
like
guys
paint
like
your face and whatnot.
oftentimes they look the same. Like Wes was constantly trying to make it look a little different. So I think that's one of the things that like for, at least my eyes as a
Right.
16-year-old
You never knew
kid.
which one you were gonna get when you came to the show. I guess.
At first, it was just like face paint, and then it just like
Contacts.
contacts, and then it just like kind
Just
of
the clothes.
got weirder and weirder.
Right.
And the stuff now is nuts. you know?
Crazy.
Just another cool form of expression.
I know. I saw a video of them. And I'm like, I don't even recognize this band at all
Yeah.
because they all dress different.
Yeah.
And I saw Mudvayne.
Oh my
And-
gosh, I haven't thought about them in a minute.
Yeah.
Dig? Is that the song?
And it was like these 45-year-old dudes dressed up as like clowns and stuff, but they're all fat now and they're rocking.
Yeah.
Mudvayne has that sick cover of King of Paint.
Oh yeah.
I used to love Mudvayne.
Yeah.
They're great, heavy.
Yeah, but melodic also.
Yeah.
That's like that kind of music that'll scare your mom when you're a teenager. You know?
My mom wasn't scared of that. Yeah.
She loved it.
Yeah.
My mom knew I had older brothers, so it's funny. Like, I honestly credit my brother Steve into my addiction to music.
Yeah.
Because he would like put me in the back of his '82 Volkswagen Scirocco and just like play me metal songs and make
He was a
me.
big metalhead.
Yeah, he liked the heavier side of rock.
Yeah.
So he'd put me in the
That's
back of there
awesome.
to play like Tool and like
Yeah.
Queensryche and Metallica and Megadeth and he'd be like, "Who sings this one? What's the song title?" Like he was like quizzing me on it, and I wouldn't.
And I feel like metal music is like big for like Midwest, like where you're from is like metal land in a way.
Yeah. And then my other brother was 2 years younger, Sean, and Sean listened to more of like the pop stuff, so like Madonna, but they kind of met in the middle at like Fleetwood Mac.
Oh yeah.
So like everyone in my family.
My mom loves Fleetwood.
Yeah, my mom did too, but it was like my mom.
What are you laughing at, Kurt?
I don't know, it's just funny. Like, my mom loves Fleetwood Mac. Like, all
my
my
mom
moms
does
do.
too.
Yeah.
It must
Great
be
music,
a trend.
and it's timeless, right?
Truly.
I mean, I love Fleetwood Mac.
Well, that's
Yes.
it.
I had an art class in high school that, like, you know, everybody had to take 1 year of it or whatever.
Yeah,
But it was awesome, actually, because she had a record player and she had Fleetwood Mac, Rumors, and a CCR record.
yeah,
And, like, I didn't even care what the rest of them were.
Yeah.
Like, we listened to those two every day for the whole year, you know.
that's great. What was like the stuff that was like feeding you when you were young? Like, what made you fall in love with music?
I mean, I always say the first song that I really remember hearing was Swamp Music,
Yeah,
Leonard Skinner.
yeah,
So, like, my dad had this, like, you know, that was like I think it was like a RCA, like, boombox kind of thing, you know, like, put a CD in the top,
yep,
close the thing down, you
Yeah.
know. I'm glad I still got to be around for those kind of things.
yeah,
But he had, like, you know, whatever random records he was playing. I mean, it was all, you know, Skinner adjacent,
Yeah.
CCR, or what, you know, that kind of era of rock, I guess. But whenever we were doing something outside, like, you know, in the yard or whatever, like, he would bring that thing out there and set it beside us. So.
yeah,
But yeah, like Skinner, my dad's like a big Deadhead, so listened to a lot of that kind of stuff. And then, you know, that was all like, I guess, 70s rock kind of vibes, whatever, things in there. And then he was, you know, listening to like Waylon Willie, like he's still like that kind of, that's his like more of his preference in country. Besides so much of this new stuff that he loves, you know, like 49 Winchester or whatever, you know, he's like really big fans of that kind of vibe, Whiskey
Yeah.
Myers,
yeah,
whatever. But then my mom kind of like turned me on to like country, and well, I mean, probably not intentionally, but she was a school teacher, so I would ride to school with her every day, and that was like when XM radio came out, and like she ended up getting a car that had the XM radio, and
I remember when that came out.
yeah, me too.
yeah, and so we would listen to like the Highway when it was like brand new, and I
It was groundbreaking back then.
Oh, yeah, it was
You didn't have
crazy.
streaming.
Yeah,
So
and you
it
could
was-
hear like a bunch of good songs
Yes.
and not have to like you know listen through radio ads or whatever. So like I remember her, you know, playing that, and then I think she had like, you know, a Sugarland CD,
Yeah,
like Little Big Town,
I
like
love
stuff like
Sugarland.
stuff like that. And I remember being like, you know, this is really cool. And then I guess when I like was around driving age, like hanging out with friends or whatever, I remember sitting at my buddy's house at like a Dell desktop computer, and he was like, dude, you got to watch this, and played and he played Carolina, Eric Church,
oh yeah,
on YouTube. It was just, I was just looking at the album cover, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, this is what, you know, that was like where it all met up, where I was like this is like a combination of a lot of things I love, you know?
Yeah.
It was like that and like Hell in the Heart,
Yeah.
all that kind of,
Fire got lit inside of what's that line?
fire got lit inside a brown-eyed
Bright Child, yeah. There it was.
Some, yeah, so like that was really like when the you know, my eyes opened to like, this is sick, you know?
Yeah.
But I
How
was,
young
you
were
know,
you when
very
you
much
played
like
guitar?
a 7 or 8.
7 or 8.
Yeah, but that's what I was just about to say. I was like very much guitar oriented, like from like when I first started playing. 'Cause, like I didn't even really want to sing. Like that wasn't my intention. Like I started taking guitar lessons, and I just wanted to like I was, you know, like probably like every kid my age, like obsessed with like John Mayer and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. I just wanted to like, you know, play the blues and get a strap or whatever, you know. But
Oh, yeah.
then my guitar teacher, like everybody had to sing once a month. Everybody got in the same room and had to play a song and sing it. And he like it was kind of awesome because the rule was like laugh at each other all you want, but like this the point was not to sing good. It was to sing and play so that you could do both.
Right.
You know, to teach you how to you know, I guess your timing to be okay.
Yeah.
So we would do that, and then, you know, I realized that people would rather hear you sing a song if you're going to play it on the couch or whatever. Like my parents would be like, "Well, sing something," you know, like if you're going to sit there and bang around on it for that long, like sing me a song. So that's kind of how that happened. But you know, I just wanted to play guitar. I was just like obsessed with like, you know, John Mayer kind of guitar music there for a little while.
Mayer's stuff is so cool too because it had that like pop sensibility on some songs, but then when you really dug into what he was doing, you're like the people that were guitar heads and were like a little deeper into the music world were like, oh, I love this too.
Yeah. But it was always very scattered for me because like at the same time I was like listening to a ton of like that kind of thing. Like I was like really digging like Fall Out Boy and like Panic at the Disco and like
Dude, love Panic.
which is like couldn't be more different than But so I've always been that kind of listener. Like it's never been like, oh, this is what you listen to. Like I guess now it's probably more that way than it ever was before.
Yeah.
You know? Probably just because I'm trying to listen to stuff that's nothing like me, because I just don't want to really mess, like, you know, be like stepping on something subconsciously or anything.
Yeah.
You know?
It's wow for me too. Like when I didn't live in Nashville, I consumed country music. The percent of music I consumed being country music was so high. And now that you're around it all the time here, it's definitely slightly less. Maybe significantly less.
Oh, yeah.
Like I find myself listening to more rap. I find myself listening to more rock and roll. I find myself going back into the past and listening to other
I listen to a
things.
lot more older music than I ever have listened to now.
It's crazy.
No, but like it's funny how you're never really sure why you're listening to what you're listening to. You just are.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's what your brain kind of wants or like attaches to.
I guess it's the same reason, like, you could, you know, like, when I listen to a John Mayer song, I feel like I'm, like, 14. Yeah, I'm, like, I, like, remember, like, what clothes I was wearing listening to that song for the first time, you know, or whatever it is. It's, like, you remember the details of, like, that time stamp on your life it had, you know?
Yeah. One of the things, too, like, me and Kurt drove down to a Flatland show in Georgia.
Athens, yeah.
Yeah, and we were, you know, listening to a bunch of music on the way there and back.
Jail's first record.
Yeah.
Nice.
But it's like, it's kind of cool when you're on like a road trip or something like that to kind of go through. We listened to, I think, like a rock from 2005 playlist, or maybe, no, we listened to a rap from 2005 playlist.
Yep.
Because that's when Kurt graduated high school. And I was like, man, you forget how like dirty music was back then.
Nostalgia is a powerful drug as well.
Oh, and it's crazy to think about it, like, from a putting out music perspective when you're like, I mean, a lot of the things that I'm, like, really loving now or whatever might be, like, 10 years old.
Yeah.
Or you know, even less than, if it's, like, 3 or 4 years old. Like, it's, like, a lot of things, like, time is what makes them cool, is, like, going back to it, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
In a way.
It's crazy, too, like, 10 years doesn't seem like it was that long ago musically. For time-wise, when I think about things, sometimes it does.
Right, yeah.
But when you think about music, it doesn't seem like it is that long ago.
I totally
I
agree.
don't know if that's... Maybe I'm just old now.
Man, time flies, man.
It does.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It does fly. It's crazy. Well, doing what we're all doing, it makes time fly. Yeah. Because
Having fun.
Yeah, having fun. Exactly.
But
yeah.
also like working. Like grinding.
Yeah.
And like
we're having fun and we're really busy. You know?
Yeah.
But it does make everything fly. And this town has some kind of way of making things fly by. Like I'm coming right up on 3 years of living here full time.
Yeah.
And
damn, that's it.
But it's.
And you're
like,
opening for Whiskey Myers. That's pretty sick, dude.
Doing good.
Yeah, that kind of it's that's what's weird too is like you get out here and you get to grind and you're like, yeah, we're playing shows with Whiskey Myers, and then you have to be like, dude, if somebody would have told you that even a year ago, like you would be like, no way. So you have to take a step back and be like, hey, I know you're focused and you're grinding, but like, just think about it for a second.
Yeah.
And don't freak yourself out. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I've been trying to do that consciously, like every night on the road. Like I played so many shows for so many years, and was just thinking about the loadout and getting to the next place or whatever. And like, I every night, like on this tour, I've like consciously like stepped back at some point during the set and just panned the arena and been like, damn, like we're lucky, like we're just very blessed to have that chance,
Yeah.
And being here makes you realize that too, because there's just so many people who are so good in this town, and like
there are,
like only some will get the opportunity. It sucks that that's the way life is, I guess, but
I tell people that all the time. Like, I did not realize until I got to Nashville that being incredibly good is like 20% of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, think about how many people are like trying to do what you're doing, like build a successful like business like you have. Like, I mean, there's so many people clawing at it,
Yeah, and that's like, I remember when I moved to town and started Rowdy on the Road with Kurt, when he was like had time to do such things. Yeah, but people were like, "Well, how did you like get all of these relationships and like get people to play?" I was like, "Well, for the 4 years before that, we were covering the artists that we thought were cool, and we were right a decent bit, and then they were cool." And
just showing support so early, which is not everybody has that in them.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, we were doing articles about people that didn't have PR teams, like they didn't have.
I wrote some things about me when I was just a college kid.
But it was good, like. And I remember like when Kurt and I started doing the radio show together. I had done the radio show a little bit before I moved to town, and then when I moved to town, Kurt was like, "I want to do that with you," and so we started doing the radio show together. And I would like talk about a song that I wanted to play, and he's like, "It's not like exactly there," And I was like, "Yeah, but it's good." My thing is, as a fan, I didn't hear it's not exactly there.
Right.
I heard there's something here,
Yeah.
And so I don't know if it's a benefit. No, not knowing as much almost kind of was a benefit to me in certain things.
Yeah.
It's funny, like
I think that's even the same way from like a songwriter perspective.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes like what you don't know is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like it gives you a different level of insight. You're looking at different things.
Yeah.
I remember like talking to people about like certain artists, and they're in town and they're writers or producers or whatever, and they're like, "I don't get it," and I was like, "That's it. Like, you don't have to. Like, you're so
you gotta
deep
make
in
peace
it.
with that.
Yeah, you're so deep in it that like you're thinking about, oh, this lick isn't exactly right, or you could do something different wording wise in this portion." I'm like, sometimes it's just the thing, and it's the energy.
I mean, I feel like I've spent a lot of time working backwards from that, Like, even now I'm like, yo, do what you would do when you were 16.
Yeah.
Like,
don't overthink it.
Yeah. And it's like, from a playing perspective too, it's like, I write a lot of songs like very guitar oriented, and it's I think like I was having this conversation with my uncle. He was like, "You need to take these guitar lessons that I'm taking, whatever." I was like, "Yeah, man, like I would love to, but not right now while I'm writing for my record, because like things that I'm doing because I don't know what's right or wrong is like what I need right now."
Yeah.
What lessons is he taking?
He's up doing that like Sonora program. Have you seen that? It's like an online thing where everybody gets their own teacher, like it's all like via Zoom or whatever. But it's like Billy's doing that. Billy Strings is like the door signed or whatever.
Oh, cool.
So it's a really good program. But I was like, but not right now. You know, like because like what I'm doing, it's just some kind of like dumb thing that's trying to find it in this sound in my head, and I don't know how to make it happen. But then I find it. Like I need that process. You know.
Well, and that's part of the thing too. Is like if you don't exactly know what you're doing, you're directionally correct.
Right.
You can happen upon something cool.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of how songwriting is.
And because people out there in the crowd, they don't know what's going on. They just know if it makes them feel good or if they don't like it. You know? Like
I remember Kurt being like, "Did you hear me mess up that part on this song I played?" And I'm like, "No." Yeah. You know, like I just
me
heard
and the
the whole
boys were
thing.
talking
It
about that
sounds
this
great.
week. Where like every night when we come off stage, like we all have our own internal, like oh messed up, like it didn't really quite hit that one lick or whatever.
Yeah.
And like we were like, at the end of the day, all these little tiny little something that we are thinking about, like maybe one person out there caught it.
Yeah.
But probably not.
Y'all, I had such a big fat clam in Jacksonville. I think it was a Saturday night. Yeah, it was like we were playing Fast Car in A flat, and I have this
What are you playing on fast
steel
Car?
guitar.
Still.
So I was playing my pedal steel guitar, and I've got all these effects on it. And I played, instead of playing this A flat chord, I slid up and I went to a G flat chord. Yeah, and I pulled the volume back on it. Like that was bad, but probably wasn't that bad. And whenever I go to my mom, I say, "Do you hear me mess up in this?" And she says, "No, honey. Like it sounds great." And I said, "Mom, do you hear me mess up?" She goes, "Yep."
Oh no!
There's 50,000 people there, no big deal.
Yeah.
But
Well, here's the thing too. A live performance is supposed to not be exactly.
That's the thing you gotta think about. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
we're playing live music, man. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not too ate up about it. I get mad if I don't practice, then I'll get mad.
Yeah.
Or
Same.
I'm on stage, on time, practice, sober, whatever. It's like everything is just shit happens sometimes.
Yeah.
And there's no like rhyme or reason. It's
Right.
You're playing live music,
Yeah. I talked about that too. I know I'm drinking a drink right now, but I haven't the most drinks I've had in a day has been like 2 recently. I'm just not drinking to get drunk. And but I talked about like if you mess up and you're 4 beers deep, you're drunk.
Yeah.
You're drunk
Yeah,
and messed
totally.
up.
Right.
But if you are sober and you mess up, you just messed up.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
So, and part of that's in your own head, but part of that's in other people's thing too.
Mm-hmm.
They're seeing that, they're like, "Oh, he's drunk and he messed up."
Speaking of drinking and playing, it's so funny how like people think that we're like raging out backstage.
Oh yeah.
Like people at some of these like whiskey shows will be like, "Let's go backstage, like take us backstage or whatever." I'm like, it's just a regular room with a case of waters and a 12 pack that we're all drinking 1 or 2 of. You know what I mean? And then we're getting in the car and drop. Like what?
Those aren't the people you want to bring backstage anyway.
Right? Yeah. It's like we don't want to do that anyways. But yeah, it's funny how people think you're like raging out with playing. It's like no, like we're working. We're like we'll drink some beers after the show for sure.
Yeah.
But
I remember talking to Joe Portner. I used to live with him, and he was like, playing some show for $700, and they're like, "Dude, take us back on your tour bus." He's like, "You mean my Civic?
Yeah,
You mean my Toyota car I have that's 15 years old in the back?" Like people just assume that if you're playing on that stage that you're super rich.
Right? Yeah.
Like, it's just funny how all of it works.
It's like no, please go buy merch so we can make it to the next hotel.
Yeah. So buy that $30 T-shirt. So I can afford to buy food for the guys on the way to the next show. Yeah. It's just an interesting thing, but I mean, honestly, you don't know till you know, and then that's part of the thing that makes it beautiful is that you don't know. You think that person is a rock star.
Yeah.
If they are scared out of their freaking mind.
I miss, watching shows like not knowing what goes into making the show.
Yeah.
You ever feel that way, Kurt?
I don't know. I don't think
Deep in
so.
the weeds.
No. Well, I'm trying to think of some of the last shows I've been to.
Dan and Shay.
Yeah. Okay. So the Dan and Shay show, I wasn't thinking about I mean, I was a little bit, but it wasn't like
You're thinking,
it didn't take
yeah.
any of the joy out of it.
Yeah.
You know,
But I think, like, talking about seeing y'all at Red Rocks, like, that's one of the last shows I remember seeing where I didn't know anything about what was going on.
right?
Yeah.
You know? Like, on that level, anyways. Like, I didn't know how many people were working on it and what's, you know, actually going on and what, like, the sound check on that level looks like and everything. But now it's like Caroline tells me, she's like, why don't you just enjoy the show? I'm like, just because I'm looking at what kind of amp he's playing doesn't mean that I'm not enjoying.
Yeah,
just
looking
a
at amps is
different
part of the,
Right?
show.
Yeah. But she's always getting on me. She's like, you got to just chill and enjoy the show. And I'm like, well, this is how I'm enjoying them now. You
Well,
know?
and that's, for me, I came from just literally being a huge music fan.
Mm-hmm.
So it is definitely different now that I know some of the nuts and the bolts. Working at a record label kind of made me a little jaded, for sure.
Right.
You know, but since leaving that, I've definitely came back.
Yeah.
It's hard when you're used to being side stage for every show you're at,
Yeah.
and then you're out in the crowd again.
But I still feel it just as much, though. You know, it doesn't bother me because I still am moved by the music in the same way.
Yeah.
So,
You know?
Yeah.
That would really bother me if I had lost that. I would honestly not want to be around it. I would try to fight to get that feeling back. But
Well, that's like one of the things I talked to Matt about is I was like, Matt, like, we still need to go to shows just to enjoy the show. You know?
yeah, remember what
Why we
made
love
you
this.
want to be around it.
Yeah. Why we love this so much.
Yeah.
There's so much power in music. And it can be powerful for every way you're experiencing it. But
I think that's a continual thing for like everybody in the business in any capacity is like finding remembering why you got into it, what made you love it in the first place. Because when you get so down in the weeds of it, sometimes you gotta like look up and be like, oh,
there it is.
this is why I wanted to do this.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, it's definitely tough, but also at the same time, the fact that you get to be so close to it that you have little moments that make you think like that also makes me smile. Like I think I told this story on pod before, but my buddy was talking about, he's a producer, songwriter, and he was talking about getting to put up drywall and like just have a day where he wasn't thinking about music. And I was like, man, that's the most first world shit I've ever heard in my entire life.
But also, it's fun to get like enjoyment from taking your buddies who aren't involved to the show and being like, yeah, come look at it from right here. And they're like, oh my gosh, you know? Like my dad's been coming out, he came out and did like 2 of these whiskey shows.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to watch him be like, you know, he's not saying anything. He's
Yeah.
just kind of like big-eyed, like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Kurt took me to the Dan and Shay show that he went, and he's, you know, kind of, you know, buddies with those guys.
Right.
He was like, do you want to be back here, or do you want to go to the pit? I was like, let's go to the pit.
Yeah.
You know?
Where were they playing at?
Bridgestone.
Oh,
Yeah.
I bet that was a great show.
It was cool. It was
It was
fun.
super
Who's on that bill?
Haley Witters and Ben Rector.
Yeah.
Oh, Ben
It
Rector.
was a cool show.
We didn't
I
get
love
barely
Steve
Rector.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ben. I had to.
But we, it was cool, because I don't know if I've ever been in the pit with you before that. Like, I don't think I have. So, like, we'd been to shows, but, like, that Flatland show, we were in, like, a little cool VIP area, which was awesome.
Where
You
was
know, it's like
Flatland playing at?
Georgia Theater.
Oh, yeah. Man, what a
great.
cool spot.
Great spot.
Classic.
Such a good spot.
Classic acoustic sounded amazing in there.
Man,
Really, really good.
I played there, like, way before I had any business playing on that stage.
Really?
Yeah, it's just actually hilarious. I played there opening up for the Tootin' Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Actually. But, like, dude, we didn't know, like, we had been playing shows in Auburn, like, you know, a few. I mean, I was, like, still playing with, like, a big old iPad on my mic stand. You know what I mean? Like, and we were, like, playing the Georgia Theater. It was like, this is insane. And it was, like, packed. Like, I don't know what the event was, or it was some kind of, like, you know, co-bill between the Tootin' Brothers and some other band. But, yeah, I'll always remember playing that place, like, that I was there way too early. Like, hope we get the chance to do it again, and I can remember it that way. But, yeah, but what a great place, man.
It is.
It was fun.
Absolutely. But if there's something about, like, being in the crowd in the mix, like,
Oh, it's great.
we caught a pick,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Love that.
give this to that girl that's freaking out right now. And you gave it to her, and she had the biggest freaking smile on her face. And I was like, I remember when I was that kid with the
Yeah.
face freaking smile on my face. And I also loved, like, I could have gave it to him, but I got to see how much joy you got giving it to
Was
her.
she like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you giving this to me?
She like,
No, but some lady at the airport on Sunday was.
yeah.
We were flying back from San Antonio, and there was all these Luke fans that were flying back also. And this lady, she's the first person I saw with the Luke show. I gave her a guitar pick, and she was like, I was like, yeah, I got here, have this. You know, thanks for coming to the show. And she just like thought I was like some weird
Trying to
stranger.
poison her.
Yeah. I'm like, no,
I don't want
give
your
my
guitar
show
pick.
again.
So weird, but it's funny now that I'm kind of deeper in the world of music. I get joy out of watching other people enjoy.
Me too. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
It's so rewarding to see it. Like this last show we played with Whiskey Myers, my college roommate came out,
Yeah,
and you know, like he's probably seen a million concerts, but never like that, you know.
yeah,
And like it was kind of wild because he showed me Lucas Nelson's music like our freshman year of college.
Oh, that's sick.
And so he was like, and like he would. It's funny because he would probably never say this about anybody else, but he was like, "You think like I could go back there and like say what's up to him?" And I was like, I would usually be like, "Hell no!"
Yeah.
But we had been hanging out with him for every day of the tour. I was like, "Yeah, of course, like come on," because I knew he wouldn't care one bit, and he, you know,
Yeah.
he got to talk, just say what's up to him, and I was like, "Yeah, like this is like so rewarding to be able to like you know give back a little bit."
Yeah.
You know, just let him have a good time and watch it. You know.
Mhm. Super cool. The music world has been such a blessing, and I mean, when I started Raise Rowdy, I had no idea what it was going to be. Still, maybe don't. But
I don't think you're supposed to.
yeah,
But if you would have thought of what it was, you'd probably been wrong.
yeah,
You know? like,
absolutely would have.
because it continues to evolve for
Yeah.
sure.
Absolutely, but that's kind of the beauty of it is like, if I go home and see a friend, they're like, "Well, looks like you're doing stuff that's cool." And I'm
Yeah.
like, when you're in it, you like.
That is kind of funny. You
trying to
don't realize you're doing cool stuff till somebody tells you.
I mean, I know I'm doing cool stuff, but you kind of forget about it. Yeah.
For sure.
I always say Kurt has the Game Genie. You might not even know what that is, but there was like a Nintendo cartridge had these like things that went on them that gave you all the cheat codes. I say Kurt has that on all the time.
Nice.
I got all the cheat codes.
I feel that way in my life. It's
Yeah.
so blessed.
Yeah. But it's cool just getting to be involved in when you really take a step back. I think that's an important part about life in general, and you talked about it
Yeah.
on this podcast today, is take a step back and really realize where you're at and realize how short or long it took to get there,
Yeah.
and just be thankful for the experiences that you get to have.
Well, I always just think about, you know, it seems like for all of us, you know, the bar continues to move of where you want to go.
Yeah.
Because you make some achievements or whatever, and that's good. You know, you shouldn't be like satisfied, I guess, to some extent. But I always just circle back and think like, pretty much from the time I started playing music, like I knew that's what I wanted to do. Maybe I didn't really have the guts to tell anyone, but like I remember just praying every night, like just in whatever capacity I could do music like as a job,
Yeah.
and
Here you
I always just circle back to that and be like, well, it happened.
Yeah.
You know, like complete answered prayer, just like like that would seem like a crazy thing to even be like saying,
Yeah.
you know? And like whenever I'm like, well, why is this happening or whatever? I'm like, yeah, you got what you asked for.
Yeah.
Like anything else is a bonus.
Yeah. What's that Colton Benner song? Problems that you prayed for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's great, man. I love him.
But I always I love that song, and I think about that idea a lot. You know, all of the things that now drive me crazy, or that I think drive me crazy, are all the things that I prayed to be doing 10 years ago.
Yep.
You know, which
It's
is
crazy.
It's great.
Because everything seems so far away and then it happens. And you're like,
Yeah. Well, do you got anything after the Whiskey Myers tours? Anything else on the books?
I mean, we're doing the whiskey thing, and then we're playing. I think it's Born and Raised Festival. That is Pryor, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called. Which would be a big one. There's a lot of cool headliners on that one.
Yeah.
Not even sure which of the days we're playing. We're doing CMA Fest on the Hard Rock stage.
Cool. That's awesome.
That'll be on the 8th, I guess, the Saturday of that week.
Cool.
June 8th, Saturday.
Yeah. Yep. We'll be on the Hard Rock stage. I'm not sure what time, but yeah, so just doing that. Which we have 7 more dates with whiskey or something. So it's like pretty decent chunk.
Dude, that's great.
Yeah, and then just getting this record out, and then hopefully something will pop up for the fall.
Yeah. Well, if not, like, just do a little club tour, maybe.
Yeah, no, I would love to. I think we're probably just going to see if anything pops up. Oh, we're also going to Denver tomorrow with Southall.
Oh, that's sick.
So we're doing like Denver and then 2 stops in Wyoming.
Cool.
So that'll be cool. Because like those, I've been such a big fan of those guys. And ironically, my record's coming out on Friday. And like, I did like an acoustic opening thing for them before I made the EP. And I was like, that's largely when I was like, okay, I'm just going to make the EP that I want to make.
Yeah.
And like not try to follow any rules.
Yeah.
Because those guys were just rocking out, and it was like unapologetic, like we're playing our songs really loud and y'all are all gonna love it, And so I was like, man, those guys are having so much fun just doing what they want to do, and I'm gonna do the same thing. So it's kind of like weird full circle that now like the record's coming out and we're gonna be out there with them. It's gonna be cool to play some smaller rooms too. I mean, these are probably like, I'm not for certain, but I think they're like 1,000 cat kind of clubs, which would be cool because it'll be like raging out.
Yeah. It's cool to do that. Well, tell everybody where they can follow you on socials too.
Follow me everywhere at Reid Haughton Music. Twitter
Haughton,
at Haughton. Some guy yesterday spelled it Hawton, and I was like, that's pretty hilarious. Maybe I should change it to Haughton. Yeah, Reid Haughton Music, and then on the Twitter at Haughton_Reid. Cool. Big Twitter guy. Every now and then, sometimes I just go in spurts where I want to.
We hadn't used Twitter for a while, and we're starting to get back to it.
I think it's coming back.
Yeah.
I guess it's called X.
True.
Yeah.
It's gonna get
Well, dude, thanks for coming out here. I'm sorry about the traffic, but we
Thank y'all so much for having me, man.
Yeah.
It's always good to hang out with you two.
Dude, you too, man. I appreciate it. Well, guys, I'm Nicky T.
I'm Ozan, and we'll see you on the front row.
Peace out.